8 weeks ago, I decided to commit to the hardest physical challenge of my whole life, running a marathon. A few days ago, I crossed the finish line with a finishing time that I could only dream of. In today's video, I want to share with you the biggest lesson I have learned and how I was able to do this in 8 weeks. Alright, so let me give you some context. I had never run a marathon before. I can say that I challenge myself every few months by running shortened distances like 5 or 10 kilometers. And sure, I'm originally from Somalia, so you can say running is kind of my DNA. But I never challenged myself to run a full marathon until a good friend of mine told me this summer that he was going to run the ASML marathon in October. And to give you a better perspective, he and I have been pushing each other to our physical limits for years. So when he told me about this marathon, I thought, why not? A half marathon is 13.1 miles and a full marathon is 26.2 miles. So there I was on a sunny Sunday, October 8th, crossing that finish line in just 3 hours and 90 minutes. And let me tell you, it was a massive achievement, and I will now break down how I made it happen. My first training day for this marathon started on August 13th with a running distance of 5 kilometers. And as you can see in this overview, I ran short distances multiple times a week because my body could handle it. And I started slowly increasing the weekly distance with an increase of 30 to 4% each week. Now they say when you start training for your first marathon, you should stick to a 10% weekly increase. However, due to time limitations and my condition level, I was able to boost it more rapidly. In other words, when you are physically challenging yourself, it's important to listen to your body. Over these 8 weeks, my diet was mainly carb foods like pasta, pancakes, and oatmeal. You see, your body performs hard and burns a lot of calories, and carbohydrate-rich meals give you a boost. During training sessions, I had energy gels with me for on the go. These gels are sugar-free and purely functional. I also took magnesium daily for extra energy and to keep my muscles flexible and strong. And not to mention, I stretch for 10 minutes every evening before going to bed to prevent injuries and better recovery. Now, we need to talk about self-discipline and willpower. Many people dream of running a marathon, but only a few actually do it because first and foremost, you need to stay consistently motivated for your training sessions. And besides that, you must resist short-term temptations like unhealthy food, drinks that don't contribute to your performance, or staying up too late. Honestly, for the past 8 weeks, I acted as a professional athlete, and by adopting this mindset, I could embrace the same habits as a professional athlete, such as limiting sugar intake and staying well hydrated. And because I was in a zone 24/7, I set a personal target to push my boundaries. Now this target was all about my training sessions. As you can see, my average pace speed during both training and the marathon stayed consistent. Basically, I did everything during my training sessions, and my goal was to finish the marathon in 3 hours and 30 minutes. And you can say I achieved it quite well. So let me tell you how I overcame myself during the marathon. Professional runners say that after 30 kilometers, you have to lean on willpower. However, at around the 20-kilometer mark, I just realized that things weren't going as planned because my left knee was completely exhausted. So at some moments I took a few seconds to stop and rest, and I can tell you I didn't feel comfortable doing that because I knew I wouldn't achieve my target time. So instead of surrendering to the pain, I created a mindset shift, rising above the pain. I didn't focus on any pain, instead I focused on my breathing. By maintaining this focus, it took me a while to get back to my regular pace. And if you look at my stats, you won't see any setbacks. You will only see that I maintain a consistent pace. And I think this is a moment when people only see the stunning finish time, but they don't realize that I went through a low point that completely changed my life. The secret of success is learning how to use pain and pleasure. Instead of having pain and pleasure use you. If you don't do that, you are in control of your life. If you don't, life controls you. This is a quote from Tony Robbins, and like I mentioned, I have maintained a different pain during the marathon. I noticed the pain that I had felt for a few minutes suddenly disappeared because I also saw myself finishing with a stunning time. People also asked me if I was listening to podcasts or music during the marathon, and my answer was, stay hard! When you are pushing yourself in a physical activity that's taking you out of your comfort zone, you shouldn't use external stuff like podcasts and music because all they do is soften the pain. You gotta embrace the pain, otherwise you will never grow. In other words, no pain, no gain. Running a marathon taught me the most important lessons in life. It taught that we are aware of only a fraction of the things that we are capable of, and that our limitations only exist in our minds. It also taught me that you have to sacrifice something to achieve something great. For me, it was finishing with exhausted legs, and I can tell you the muscle pain I experienced afterward was worth it to achieve this. So what are you willing to sacrifice to achieve something on a personal and business level? So I run a TikTok consultant agency that helps creators and brands grow on a platform. Check the first link in the description for a sales page that convinces you to have a chat with me. Let me know in the comments how your first ever marathon went, or if you are going to do one, what your plan looks like. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy your day.